The state of Wisconsin has now spent close to $1 million of taxpayer money, of course, auditing the state's 2020 presidential election votes. Yes, folks, we are in June of 2022, and Republicans in the state are still auditing the votes that happened in November of 2020. We're a year and a half removed from that election, and Republicans won't let it die. And of course, part of the reason they're not going to let it die is because Donald Trump very recently told them they have to keep going. Because he issued a bit of a threat to Republican Assembly Speaker Robin Voss, essentially suggesting that if Voss didn't keep this bogus election audit running, he was going to endorse Voss's primary opponent. Voss literally within hours caved and greenlit the probe to continue. And the reason he even had to greenlight it to continue in the first place is because Michael Gman, the former conservative Supreme Court justice from the state of Wisconsin, had issued a preliminary report, which was essentially supposed to be a final report, that said, hey, there's no fraud. Couldn't find it. I've been looking at it for a year, and it doesn't exist. If y'all want to throw out, by the way, the state's election results, however, I'm okay with that, he says in the report. Not in those words, I'm paraphrasing. He did suggest throwing it out, but he also said, I can't find the fraud. And that was supposed to be the end of it. Voss was going to end it, but Trump came along and said, nope, you got to keep going. So now, of course, they're way over budget because they had originally allocated $676,000 for the investigation. It has now cost them $896,500. But a spokesperson for Voss came out this week and said, whoa, that total is absolutely inaccurate because we're not actually factoring in lawsuit costs. So it actually should be much lower. You're including the lawsuit cost, and you shouldn't because we don't like to include that. It still comes out of the same pot of money, folks. Okay, so it's still the same thing. They're just saying, yeah, but if you don't count the money we've spent, then we're not over budget. It's like going to your bank after you've overdrafted and said, well, yeah, I'm only overdrafted, but that's only if you count my expenses. If you don't count my expenses, then I have tons of money left in the bank. That's not how money works. So I don't know how this individual got a job as a spokesman for the Assembly Speaker in Wisconsin, but they're not very bright. So I think maybe they need to go back to school. And I'm not talking college. I think we're at, second grade math levels that this person needs to understand. Now here's the kicker. These lawsuits that these Republicans say are obstructing the probe are actually doing the opposite. Because the reason that they are facing lawsuits is because they're violating the state's open records laws. That's right, these Republicans, who again already released a preliminary report saying that we can't find any fraud, are also not making the findings public. So Democrats are suing, make them public. We have open records laws here. You have to show us what you're doing. You're spending almost $1 million now. By the time it's all over, it'll be well over $1 million. Show us what's happening. And Republicans are using that to say, well, Democrats are obstructing. No, they're literally trying to not obstruct. You're obstructing by hiding it, and you're also very clearly breaking the law. So that's what's happening up in the state of Wisconsin. It's all very confusing. It's all very stupid. And it is all because Donald Trump will never let the fact that he lost to Joe Biden in 2020 go. Hey everyone, this is Aspen. And did you know that for the low cost of $0 per day, you can subscribe to the Fair and Balanced YouTube channel. We also encourage you to like, comment, and share. But again, click that subscribe button and help Aspen not be so grumpy.